How do you react when the shit hits the fan? Your body knows first. Hi, I'm Dr. Catalina Lawson, and I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in sex and relationships. So I want to talk today about how our bodies know first. About everything. The first thing that's going to happen, I want you to take a moment to actually think about what happens when you get triggered at work. Whether it be because you got in trouble for something, or in your relationship, you're pissed off at your partner. What happens to your body? There's generally two ways our bodies can go. We either upregulate or we downregulate, okay? And those, doesn't matter where you're from or really wherever or your gender. Unfortunately, this is just how our body works. So basically, why does that happen? Okay, so when I'm saying that we go upregulated or downregulated, generally when we get upregulated, our bodies go towards it. That's when you've heard of fight or flight, then generally this is where your body is going to, do something. It's going to act. It's either going to get aggressive, maybe you'll speak up, or maybe you'll try and fix it and do something. But if you're a down regulator, you're going to pull away. Maybe you'll back up or stay quiet. Now, when I say your body knows first, your body learned a long, long time ago what it had to do to keep you safe, okay? We now know so much more about how the body works that we've known for a while, and we're putting it all together. So you've probably, if you're watching this, maybe you've heard of attachment theory, and this idea that basically how we are in relationship or how we emotionally react to stressors has to do with how we were raised and our relationships with our caregivers, okay? When we're talking about how our body reacts, again, our body learned from very early how to actually protect ourselves. So today I want to talk to you about Polyvagal Theory. And basically, Polyvagal Theory was developed by Porges. He's a professor at University of Illinois, Chicago. And Polyvagal Theory very much gives us a theory to understand how our body reacts to stress or trauma when it feels threatened. And when we're talking about individuals who are not secure, which is securely attached, which is around, estimates suggest anywhere between 70 and 80% of the world population. Very few of us are actually securely attached, because not that everyone's parents or everyone's home was so bad. It wasn't, or everyone experienced physical or sexual abuse or addiction. It doesn't actually have to be that extreme for your body to learn or put up protection or defense mechanisms because it's, for some reason or another, felt unsafe. So, if you're an individual who isn't securely attached, you may notice that everyone up and down regulates, that there's a level or a window where what we expect for everyone. But if you notice that you either become maybe too aggressive or overly emotional, or you find yourself very avoidant, if you're more on those spectrums, maybe this will seem much more clear for you. So let me break down what happens to your body when we actually build up our defenses. So Porges says that theorizes that there's three systems in our body, in our brain, that basically our nervous system reacts to actually protect us. Okay, so the first is starts, and it's hierarchical, meaning that it starts from top down, and it starts from newer parts of our brain to older parts of our brain. So when we first feel in danger or feel unsafe, the first system that's going to actually get engaged is our social engagement system. So this is our face. That's why the first thing that you're going to be noticing is changes in people's faces when they get triggered or when their mood or emotions shift. So this is your social engagement system, because the first thing that your body, because we're mammals and we are social, the first thing our body and brain thinks is, someone help me. So this is where oftentimes when you think of a baby who's giving you like our puppy dog eyes, like help me, you know, our eyes might get big, we might frown. There's different actions or facial expressions that have actually been shown across many different cultures, that are expressed that happen. Certainly our cultures can shape how the differences of these expressions, but in general, what happens is the first thing that's going to react is our face is going to shift to actually try to get support so that you actually feel safe. Okay? So that's the first system. So this is where you might cry also, where you're trying to show your emotion, show you're sad, or you're going to raise your voice. You're going to do things to try to either distance or pull towards others. Okay? So the first system is social engagement. The next system, this is where if your body realizes nobody's helping you, like you're on your own, this is where your parasympathetic nervous system gets activated, and this is your fight, flight, freeze. Your body is like, fine, screw it. Now it's time to mobilize, okay? And this is where your body is going to act. This is now your chest area, okay? This is your heart, and this is your lungs, okay? So if you notice that your heart rate increases when you get stressed, and your breathing generally gets a lot more shallow, that's your body saying, get me the hell out of here, okay? All right, because it's trying to get you out of danger. Think of animals in the wild and how they'll go together, or they'll flee. If a big, a big lion comes, all of the animals flee. They go away, okay? So this third system, if over time, and this is what you see oftentimes in chronic stress, so individuals who have chronic illness, or if you're in a chronic toxic relationship or a long-term toxic relationship with someone you love, a family member, when you're exposed to another nervous system, because we co-regulate our nervous systems, okay? That's when people say, oh, I feel their energy. That's your nervous system talking to their energy, their nervous system, okay? So if you are faced with a chronic stressor that you can't get help for and you can't get out of, then now your body goes into mobilization. And this is where basically it's below your diaphragm. And now this is when your gut gets involved. So maybe you've heard about gut health and how that's so important. This is when your body, your brain thinks, man, now we're on lockdown. Now the shit has hit the fan, and particularly now it's very timely. Now we have to bunker down and get ready for, this is going to be a long winter. So this is where you start to see individuals with GI problems or digestive disorders, things like IBS, things like Crohn's, or having GERD or diarrhea. People will either not be able to eat, they won't keep anything on, or they'll overeat. Again, when your body isn't feeling safe or isn't regulating, it's upregulating or downregulating too much, it feels unsafe. Okay? And so this is hierarchical. And when it gets to this part of our brain, this is the oldest part of our brain. And generally, this is where humans are very unique, because most other mammals can get themselves out of things. But so most other animals don't have to access this part of the brain, where there's only one part. It's the one part of it, the hippocampus. And so this is where it's the oldest part of our brain. And this is where you don't see other mammals. So there's a book out there called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And it's because humans will stay in bad situations, even if we have a choice, even if we actually have the power to get out of it. We still stay sometimes, and this particularly is in relationships or jobs. We don't flee. So that's where humans are very different than other mammals, and particularly when we're talking about relationships. So again, think about how when you're thinking that, when I said earlier that this is hierarchical, the first systems are social engagement with our head, our mobilization and our immobilization. Our social engagement, if we can get help, that will inhibit our mobilization from happening. So insecurely attached individuals, they're actually going to ask for help when they need it. They're going to ask for directions when they need it. They're going to assert when they need it. But if you're more avoidant, you're not. And you're going to repress that, and you're going to feel alone and isolated. But the reality is that we are social. We are meant to be connected. And so when you bring this and think about this from the perspective of when we think about this within relationships, and particularly when we think about it in sex, like, you can imagine how over time our feeling scared or moving forward, that push-pull that happens in relationships, again, in and outside of the bedroom, you can see how that dance happens. And so it's really important for you to keep in mind. Oftentimes you'll hear people, oh, you just got to trust your gut. You just got to trust your gut. And if you know that you feel something weird with somebody, then assume. If you feel like someone's lying to you, then in your relationship or your partner's lying, trust your gut. Well, that's generally the case for people who are more regulate adequately well. But if you're in a toxic relationship, assume that your gut is fucked. Assume that your gut's like, screw you, like I'm out for the winter, like we are not communicating. So this idea that you might trust your gut, unfortunately, your gut is not working right now. So this is where you actually need to begin to reconnect with your body. And that's why so much work is focused on mindfulness and breath work. Those are strategies to begin to reconnect with your body. Because as much as we know that, we can gain perspective and you can think about, challenge those negative thoughts and better control them, you actually can't, because by the time you're already spiraling and in the thick of it, your body's the damage is done. The moment has happened. The panic attack, or your bags are packed, or you're already engaged in that argument. All of those things are already happening because your body is used to actually reacting this way. It thinks it's the only way. This is so automatic. And that's one of the biggest things that I want you to appreciate, is how automatic these things are, because oftentimes, particularly in unhealthy relationships, it is natural to blame yourself. It is natural to feel weak and stupid and how could I do this? Oh, but the reality is that, again, your body knows first. Your body is trying to protect you. Your body is trying to keep you alive. So think about the three systems and begin. One of the things I always say is, whenever you start feeling either that shaky, any of those physical symptoms, just begin to put your hand on your heart. Okay? Touch is the most efficient way to regulate. It's the most efficient way, even if it's your touch. Okay? To actually tell your body that it feels that it's safe. So try that. Okay? All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. Please give me, I appreciate any comments, or if you have any questions about this. I know I put a lot in this video, so I'll break it down some more. But feel free to check out my website at www.drcatalina.org, or you can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Catalina Lawson, or my Facebook group, or hopefully see this on YouTube as well. All right, take it easy. Cheers.